Democratic column, Senator Hillary thank Dr. Gary McKinney. I bet he was a terrific teacher. That was a wonderful lesson that he just gave us, and I am very grateful to him for his years of teaching, as I am to all of you who are present or retired teachers. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Jerry Reed, City Council member, who is here with us, but mostly all of you. I know this is getting down to the finish line. This is exciting because we're about to elect Barack Obama the next And I'm here for a very simple reason. This state is closed. You know, Missouri is the show-me state. Well, I've been waiting for the McCain-Palin ticket to show me something more than the same policies that we've seen for the last 8 years. But I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, I think the Republicans are out of time, out of luck, and tomorrow we will show them out of the White House. Now, Missouri has a reputation of picking a winner. So I want you to be on the right side. And of course, the stakes of this election are so high, and we know that on November the 5th, the hard work will start. Our country faces serious challenges and lots of problems. Gary alluded to some of that, and he also made a point which I think is so important, that over the last years, a lot of Americans, particularly young Americans, have grown cynical and pessimistic and fatalistic. Somehow no longer believing what many of us were raised to believe, that America can do anything we set our minds to, and we can meet whatever challenges confront us in our time. And that's what I want Americans to believe again. But we can't believe if we don't have leadership that believes in us. And it's so important that we do everything we can in these closing hours of this election to reach every undecided voter, to try to convince family and friends that we have the better case, that our arguments for change and the solutions we have presented are more likely to help you individually, this community and state, and our country. You know, we're in the midst of an economic crisis born and bred by the failed economic policies of the Bush administration. But it wasn't just President Bush. He was aided and abetted by the Republicans in Washington, including John McCain.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, if you really look at it, George Bush has practiced what John McCain has preached. You know, got regulations, cut taxes for billionaires and millionaires and corporations, let jobs keep being shipped overseas, ignore the health care crisis and the energy crisis and the home mortgage crisis, until finally they can't be ignored any longer. You know, for 2 years, I and Brock and others have said, we're heading over a cliff. These falling home values, this increasing default rates and foreclosures is going to have serious consequences. But to George Bush and John McCain and the Washington Republicans, middle-class families here in Missouri are invisible. They just haven't been on the radar screen. And it wasn't until the crisis hit Wall Street, when the big banks and the big insurance companies came calling and said, oh, we're about to fail, that the Republicans got activated. Well, what about the millions and millions of Americans who have lost their jobs and lost their health?
Right.
And nobody seems to care about that. Well, we can help Americans losing their houses by making sure that the Republicans lose the White House. Now, I am not here to ask you to take a leap of faith. I'm asking you to look at the evidence. You know, within living memory, we can make a comparison between a Democratic president and Democratic policies and a Republican president and Republican policies. And I think it's a comparison that is really important in these closing hours. Because I'm going to deputize every one of you to go out and share these facts with your neighbors and your colleagues and your friends and your family. Look at what's happening today. Stocks are plummeting. Retirees' nest eggs are cracking. Small businesses can't find credit. College students can't find affordable loans. People are afraid to open the envelopes with their 401k reports inside. I just don't see how Missouri or any state affords 4 more years of the same. Because look at the answers that we get from the Republicans. What is their answer to jobs being outsourced? More tax breaks for the companies that outsource the jobs. What is their answer to the Republican, machine that has unfortunately failed to address the health care crisis because it's in bed with the insurance companies? Well, let's throw more people on the mercy of the insurance companies. What is their answer to economic insecurity? A really bad idea, privatize Social Security. I mean, can you imagine if Social Security had been in the stock market the last 3 months? Well, when you look at what has happened in the last 8 years, it reminds me of an old saying. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Don't let your friends vote Republican tomorrow and be fooled once again. Give them the facts. Tell them the last time we had a Democratic president, we had 22 million new jobs. Now, under the Bush administration, we've had the worst job creation record since the Great Depression. And that's not much of a recommendation. Under the Clinton administration, wages were rising, prosperity was shared. Average families in America saw their incomes go up $7,500 over the last 8 years. And at the same time, poverty was going down. So it was a win-win. Wouldn't it be nice, once again, to have a rising tide that lifted all boats, including the rowboats and the dinghies, and not just the yachts?
Right.
And to top it all up, you hear these Republicans talk a lot about how they're going to protect your tax dollars. All I know is that it was a Democratic president who produced a balanced budget.
Right. Tell them, Hillary.
Contrast that with what we've seen in the last 8 years. It breaks my heart, St. Charles, breaks it, to know that in 2001, when we had that balanced budget and a surplus, we were prepared to really tackle the problems that we face. So we have a richer and stronger and smarter future. We would deal